and Be Legendary presents A Name Tag is Necessary.
Let me live out my dream. Let me live out just what I intended to be. If you doubted me, then I have probably seen why my success is not what you expected of me. But I'ma live out my dream. So let me live out my dream. Let me live.
All right, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of A Name Tag is Necessary. I'm Nametag Alexander. We're back at it for episode number 63. Wow, like 63, man. That's crazy. I've been podding since 2016, back when it was a label podcast or Leading Me Legendary podcast, however y'all wanted to look at it. Make sure y'all tap that link in the description of the episode. If you're viewing it by watching it on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that link will be in the description for you to purchase some merch. We got the Leading Me Legendary trucker hats I'm wearing. You can't really see it, but we got the Name Tag is Necessary tee. Got some of the Marvel of the Minds merch on there, music, of course. But just to get right into it, this episode has been a long time coming. I've been pretty much following her career on and off for some time. And then I recently, well, not recently, but this may have been a couple years ago when I heard her on the homie. Shout out to the twins, Antoine Santoine, the Connected Experience. Now I saw that they had a music supervisor on there. I was like, oh, they talking my language. So we got Carita Miller on here, Detroit Song. What's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Welcome. I'm doing good, doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So just to jump right into it, because you wear many hats, music supervisor, artist management. We don't talk about that, artist management, because I see you manage and I'm like, they doing some things. And also I saw a podcast manager. I'm gonna pick your brain about that as well, because that's the first time I saw that, like in a bio, like, wait, podcast manager. Hold on, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
But share with me how you got started as a music supervisor. And because my career, like I don't want to say fully moved over to the sync license space, but I'm like, my one foot is in just recording just the music where it's some samples and I'm releasing music, but then also at the same time, I'm also on the sync license side. I've been doing that since around 2015. So if you can share with me how you got started as a music supervisor and artist manager in order of whichever happened first.
It was honestly a domino effect, if I can be honest.
Mhm.
Everything happened during COVID. I don't know how old you are or your listeners, but if you might be familiar with the group Men at Large.
Yeah.
Okay. So the guy from that group, Dave, and we were doing this thing on Facebook. We were calling it Music Monday, and I was introducing him all these artists that I think are just so amazing that I know nobody else know about, and it just frustrates me. It's so many good artists, and we're only really listening to what we're fed. I think. It's not a lot of people that I know that really go fishing and really find those gems that are really out.
That's the fun part. Looking for the music,
right? So I get so frustrated by that. I'm like, I just got to find a way to tell people. Like, I try to tell my friends and try to spread the word or whatever, but we were doing that, and then it was a domino effect. A guy came and asked me to write for his magazine, and then Dennis Reed came and asked if I wanted to do the soundtrack to his movie, and then another friend of mine came and asked if I wanted to A&R and manage at his label, and I'm like, yeah, heck yeah. Like,
oh, you really meant the domino effect then. Damn. Okay.
Seriously, from like literally March to September, all of that happened.
Wow.
And exactly. And I'm like, oh, wow, like this is everything that I ever dreamed of, all the stuff I ever wanted.
It wasn't overwhelming for you, just with it all happening how it did?
Kind of, yeah. But because I wanted it so bad for so long and had never really had an opportunity to get it like that.
Yeah.
And because I feel like I'm a little older now, I'm like, I'm diving in.
Right.
Like, to everything. Like, I'm
perfect timing with everything, you know, at the moment where everybody's sitting still. You asked about age. I'm 39. So most of my listeners are probably ranging anywhere, I would say late 20s for the most part, up until, I don't know, maybe 45, possibly early 50s, maybe. It depends, because I forget how hip hop just alone keeps us so young, which is it's kind of funny how that works. But yeah, so when you said Men at Large, I'm like, oh, that name strikes a bell for sure. So Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hey, I didn't think you was gonna say that like a down. Everything just happened in all that way. So like, what was your history prior to that, like in music, or was it just
prior to that, my mom
yeah,
has always been in the entertainment industry. I knew early on that this was my thing. I, I introduced my mom to H Town. She used to work at BET, and one day I like took this 30-minute VHS tape and I recorded "Knocking the Boots" over and over and over again.
word?
And when she came home,
That's
I
the
was
joint though.
like, when she came home from work, I was like, "Mom, it's this group you need to have on BET." And the first thing she asked me is, "What record label were they on?" And I said, "Luke Records." And back then,
Yeah,
like, we can have
no go.
Luke Records. I'm like, just sit down and watch the video because you can for sure have them
I
on.
forgot they were signing Luke. That's crazy.
And that got them
Yeah,
their very first national exposure, their national TV exposure. So from there, I kind of knew that I had something special, and I knew I wanted to do this, but I had kids, and that kind of changed everything. I just wanted to hone in on being a full blown parent, and I know
yeah,
this could potentially take me away from doing that. So I just decided to not even entertain this and just raise my kids first.
yeah,
So
yeah. And then so like with this happening for you during early pandemic, like you said, was that just did it make it easier because everything was so remote? We get to kind of be still, but also because I know for me it did. Like I said, I was always doing music. A lot of I would record at home anyway before any of this happened. So recording versus emailing versus back and forth, and then seeing like when this happened, I was like, oh, it almost was kind of interesting, just seeing like people kind of come into that world I was already a part of,
yeah,
especially with podcasting. Like I was doing a lot. A lot of people was like, man, I got to get the people in studio. I was like, I've been doing mine. This one, like I said, at one point I had a podcast called Leading Me Legendary Podcast. And a lot of my episodes, I was tapping into like people within the industry and just artists, and we're talking like through phone. I'm holding the phone to the mic and everything, you know what I'm saying? So I was doing it. Everybody like, I gotta have them in the studio. I was like, y'all missing out. It's mad episodes and guests y'all can have just doing it remote. So that's just interesting. Even hearing you say like all that happened during the pandemic all at once too was just like crazy. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in the beginning with all of that, and how did you overcome it, or any of those challenges?
I think the biggest one was just learning the ins and outs of music supervision. First of all, I had no idea what a music supervisor was. I thought maybe that the producer, I don't know who I thought did the music to the movie, but I didn't know that there was a said music supervisor for that, right?
Right.
So I just jumped off the bridge. I had no idea what I was doing. Okay. Um I knew how to find the music. I didn't
Yeah.
know the legal part to it.
Mm.
So I was just kind of like winging it, like just reaching out to people. I made up this letter and Jesus God.
No, that's I'm laughing, but it's like we're gonna get into it in a moment. But you laughing, but I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like how she's saying this, and in the back of my mind, this is a lot of these things are what I've done. Like when it came to like me, like having the makeups, like creating the letter and like emails and everything. Man, tell me about it.
Yeah, so after I did the first movie and it was ironically successful, I just knew I had to really learn the ins and outs. I can't really say it was challenging because a lot of stuff is online. Like you really have
Yeah.
to just use your resources. And I found so many good resources. I found a mentor. Clubhouse was popping. They had
Oh
cell
yeah.
phones. I was in there. The Guild of Music Supervisors, I joined that. I did everything that I could to find out what I could find out about music supervisors and how they operate.
Yeah.
Went to different went to the Guild of Music Supervisor conferences and things like that. So um I think the biggest challenge is to date is moving outside of this market and trying to get with other filmmakers that are not necessarily
Mhm.
straight based.
Okay.
And that's
Because I see you say something a lot, and I respect it so much, like about like how, because you would say things like, how, what are y'all doing? Like what steps are y'all following to get this music in y'all film? Like, are y'all going the right way about it? You know, because I see a lot of, what do you call it, gravitas, where a lot of these sync briefs that will come through like, oh, it ain't a fee, we ain't paying a fee, but it's gravitas. And you were like, wait, what? Like, y'all had a budget to make the movie. Y'all had this, so y'all got no money just to pay out. Like that's kind of. I did that one time only, and I believed in the project so much, but I was like, I don't know if I want to do that again. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's just like I guess I don't even know how to speak to that. I become such an advocate for the artist that I really don't like the whole no money thing.
yeah,
All I know that is so unfortunate. Even with the big productions, I think the music is always the last thing thought
yeah,
about
yeah,
when
yep.
they don't even have any money left. And then
Yeah, I'm like, I read that before. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
yeah,
Like, so they not even creating the scene with the music in mind. Like, it's like, oh, we gotta figure out what. And now it makes sense because of a lot of like TV and film that I watch. Like, I'm always listening for that. It's just a habit. Like, always listen. Like, well, why did they put that song there? That didn't that and that, but it'll ruin the show for me. I'd be like,
yeah.
why'd they pick that? Like, ugh, like that don't even make sense. So that so with them picking it last, I never understood that. So how do you go about selecting? I guess we would say, how do you go about selecting a perfect track for a film or I guess a TV series for that matter?
Oh God. Okay, so first, of course, I'm viewing the scene with no music
Hmm.
several times. And then I guess and you know what's crazy, let me just back up. I don't have a lot of spotting sessions, so from my experience, I haven't had a lot of directors or the editors or even the producer that want to get involved with helping me pick the music. It's always on me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right. So it's cool. That's cool. I'm perfectly fine with that. So it's just depending on what the scene is and what feeling I'm getting from it, right? And then
Yeah,
I'm looking for whatever song I think is good. Shoot, it could be a number of songs that could fit, but it could be maybe if I have a couple different songs, then I might ask the producer or the editor, okay, what do you think between
yeah,
a couple different songs? What feeling are you getting from this? Because it's really all about what feeling you want to create for that scene.
right.
And the song really it has the capability to completely change that.
Hmm. Yeah,
So a lot of times if I mean I think a lot of the scenes are have been for me real self-explanatory. It's a party scene, you know what goes there. It's a
yeah,
love making scene. It's a killing scene. Somebody just died. So um I think those kind of things make it a little easier when you're picking when
yeah,
the scene is um already creating the feeling pretty much when
yeah.
it's already there when the thing is already happening and you already know what kind of feeling needs to go there.
It's almost like, for example, it's a wild example, but in Friday, where the music matches so perfect. I can't think of the name of that song to this day, but and I when I saw this movie as a kid, it did something to the scene, like where they're walking out. Smokey comes out. He like, man, nobody even out here. Yeah, there's something to smoke, dog. Roo, roo, roo. Then they look and somebody's at the corner, and you hear the music come on. Hey, them niggas that act hard. It's like, oh, y'all about to get shot at. So it's like
Exactly.
whoever just picked that music for that scene. I forget who the music supervisor was for that movie, but just knowing like it's got to be intense. You think everything's okay, but it's really not. Somebody is at the corner. They about to do a drive by. Like the music had to match perfect. I still don't know the name of that song. I'm gonna have to look that up.
And then there's those it's just to speak to something different though. I was watching, I believe it was Beauty and Black. Is that the name of the Tyler Perry?
Yeah, they just put it on Netflix too.
Yeah, and I think is there a new season? I think I was watching the new season. And it was a love making scene. And it was a rap song.
Yeah, see, man, they did that on what the last season of Power with the Ghost Book 2. The final season, it was a love making scene. It was like about 3 different scenes, and we was like, why are they playing Munch by Ice Spice?
Yeah, I'm like,
Everybody felt the way about that. Like, why? Who picked this? like who decided that? You know what I mean? It made no sense.
ah, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have did that.
Yeah, that irks me. Like I watched you, I'm like, oh,
Into
why
that,
is that?
like in
Yeah.
life, that's not like what's happening to me and me. So, so I'm like,
Or like sometimes I get annoyed where it's like the same expected song that's used. Like for example, I love Annie Up. Annie Up is a classic hip hop record
yeah,
from MOP.
yes,
But I was watching Captain America: Brave New World, and it was just a scene, a transitioning scene. Annie Up was playing. I was like, why? Like why? It just was like, look, y'all, look, this the hip hop track right here that we got to insert. And I feel like they had it also in the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animation. And I feel like Annie Up was there. It's like Annie Up sometimes just pops up where it shouldn't. And I was just like, okay, that made no sense. And I feel like the last time I remember hearing it might have been You Got Served. I think, I'm not sure. Maybe it made a little sense back then because it was like they sped it up. It was like a dance battle. So that's a little different. But sometimes it's certain songs I'm like, y'all, I feel like y'all putting that there just to kind of be like, look, black folks, look, it's some rap right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate that.
yeah, same. A lot of times the song just seems completely out of place. But
So, now we know you do artist management. Man, shout out to, I hope REB. Is that correct? Man, the mail lady videos, like, oh man, incredible. Like vocally, just amazing. And I want to say you managed Oba Roland as well, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, and I don't really like to call that a management. We just have a partnership.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I always thought he was doing it on his own for so long. Then I saw it, so that makes sense. You said partnership. Okay.
so anytime he calls me, I'm there. And
Shout out to Oba. That's Cass Tech alum, same year. Yeah,
it's my boy.
yeah, for sure. So, what do you believe makes an artist in today's market like rise above the noise?
They have to have some type of it factor, something that makes them
Yeah,
stand out. You have to be some kind of different from everybody else
yeah, and likable.
and likable.
Yeah,
And likable. And what that is, I don't know if I can really say what that it factor is or what that different aspect could be or has to be. But it has to be something that makes you stand out from that crowd.
yeah,
And we don't want to hear the same thing over and over again. So you
yeah.
got for instance, I have an artist by the name of Asaka the Renegade. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but
I saw that name. I feel like I saw you post that name before. I know
yes,
I've seen it a couple times. Yeah,
and I can say specifically when I can speak specifics. Like for him, he's completely versatile. He can do anything. He can do pop. He can do rock. He can do
nice.
he can do R&B. He can dance. He can
Oh, okay.
rap very, 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 very well. And it's not the typical Detroit style rap.
Yeah, because
When
for the last maybe 5 years or so, they've boxed the Detroit sound in. Like I know because I listen like to multiple podcasts in other cities. Like, yeah, see, this is that Detroit sound. I'm like, damn,
yeah,
that's
you
how they.
say that.
Like we got so much more. Like we got so much more.
You won't say that when you hear him at all.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I got to check them out for
it's
sure.
it's things like that, and then of course the ability to get the crowd interaction, and
Hmm.
he has that down pat.
Nice.
He has it. So those are the kind of things that
Yeah, I'm tapping in then for sure. Just based on everything you name, you said they dance, so I was like, oh, okay, like that's dope in itself because there was a time where MCs could dance as well. It's been, it's wild. People give Hammer a bad rap, I guess, because the time where he came out, that wasn't the thing to do, like to be pop and dance and everything. Even though people were doing it, but Hammer was just like legit with it. That no pun, too legit, but it's for whatever reason, this pumps and a bump, the non-speedo version. This is that one version he wearing a speedo, but it's the other version that's floating around. I've just been seeing it so much. I'm like, what's going on with Hammer, dog? Because I'll be watching the clip. I always share it. I'll be like, man, look, that dance routine is so out cold, dog. They're like, no, Hammer was the man. He was the
yeah,
man, dog. Like, I don't know why they tried to clown for pumps and a bump, but listen, man, Hammer was the man for
he
sure.
was. I loved him. For
Yeah.
sure.
bring back rappers dancing, man. Like for
Yeah,
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Entertain us.
Yeah, for sure. I like something you was talking about this earlier as far as like how you kind of like stepped away for a moment, obviously to focus on parenthood. So even with now, like today, you heavily active in the music space. How do you navigate the personal versus the professional dynamic as far as like you managing, you know what I'm saying, you doing the music supervision? How do you balance both?
Ooh, I don't know. I almost want to say it is my personal. Um
Uh,
it is.
I
I'm
relate to that way too much.
I'm still making time for my kids, of course. Nothing.
Yeah,
My
that's
daughter
a given.
had a performance last night. I'm going to that. Of course, I'm sorry, Ari, I can't make the show tonight. It's simple, but whenever I'm there, I'm there. So,
Yeah.
um, and my son, he's older. He's 21. So it's my daughter. She's 14. So she's
Okay.
active with the dancing and school and this and that. So,
Right.
um, outside of her, and I do have a 9 to 5 also.
Oh man.
But at my 9 to 5, I do my music work.
So it's not just okay. Yeah, I was about to say. So same here. Like, shit, like
Like
you know what I mean.
I'm
Got to
so in love
multitask.
with what I do, and it is my personal. It's not like when I'm doing what I'm doing is I don't feel like it's taking me away from anything. I'm always at home, but I'm always on this computer.
And I will assume, based off you saying it, you like I get it done at work as well. It's a job where it allows you to be able to multitask in a way to get that done. Then of course lunch break, because I'm that way. Like my job, without naming, you know, there's multiple slow periods, and a lot of people get bored. Man, I'm ready to go home. They get the doom scrolling, and I see that as perfect opportunity. Like, oh, multitask time. Let
And
me finish up this administrative work I had to get done. Oh, I was working on some artwork. I got to finish that up. You know, I know how to turn that part on in my brain where I can do the job and then multitask at the same time and do them both efficiently. Like, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I get it done.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I had
And
to make myself do
that's
that like over the years. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's me
So
all day. That's me
yeah,
all
I relate to that way too much. Way, way, way too much. With sync licensing, you know, we got streaming platforms. We know that's the main way that we consume music for the most part. I know I'm heavy on the side of direct to consumer, buy from the artist, that's fine. But when it comes to like just your, I don't want to say general audience, like they asking, yo, is it on Apple Music? You like, fuck.
day.
Like
Exactly.
it's the people that really, really rock with you that's like, no, I'm about to buy it. Where is it at? With the vinyl, you got the vinyl.
Exactly.
And but on the flip side, like even friends, family, like, hey, it ain't on Spotify. Like, nah, not yet. But I got it here. It's on my Bandcamp. Hey man, let me know when it's on Spotify. I'm like, they don't know, man. It ain't, they feel like that's the industry did that, made it the more convenient way to get music. So it's like I get it. But with sync, with you know, like I said, the streaming platforms, that's the main way we take in music. How has sync licensing for you changed over the years, and how do you see it evolving?
Ooh, ooh. So if I can be honest, I don't really know if I can speak to the changes because I don't feel like I've been doing it long enough.
Long enough?
Yeah, if I can be honest, I don't know if I've really seen any real changes besides the fact that maybe I'm noticing there's a lot more hip hop being used.
Yep.
Um
I would agree.
which
I would agree.
I love
Yep.
that. And I think that the songs, maybe this is something I'm noticing. I think the songs have more of a real song feel, if that makes sense.
I
Like,
just was shout out to my dog James Garden. We talk about sync often,
hey, James.
and yeah, and we talk about that a lot. I'm like, it's great because like when I first got in it, like I say, my brother Black Beethoven, he's a producer and engineer, and he had been pressing me about getting into sync licensing for like maybe a decade. I'm telling you, man, you need to figure out. And this was so when I say decade, I'm talking about like because my first placement was 2015 with ESPN.
Dang, I
He had
love
been telling me about sync prior in like '05. I'm telling you, man, you doing all them samples, you doing all them mixtapes and stuff. That's cool. You need to get some music where and he know how to do it. He was always about playing original. So you're like, you need to get some original music. And I'm telling you, man, you need to figure out a way to get your music in like in them TV shows and stuff. Like he didn't have a name for it then. He just would always say that.
Right.
And I'm like, I hear him like, oh, man, you ain't do it.
Right.
You know, it is my mindset then. But it was like, fast forward, my first placement was produced by him. And we've had multiple ones since then. I ain't got the largest track sheet or whatever, but it's enough to where somebody that ain't done it before can be like, damn, how you do that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm willing to show them. But I'm glad you said that. The music is becoming more like, it don't feel like a product.
Yeah.
It feels like, because that's always been my biggest thing. I see it from a perspective that an artist could see it from that's probably just used to maybe just doing boom bap and just heavily sample, and then you introduce that to them and they like, man, niggas be selling out to make music like that, or that sounds cheesy with her, because I was of that mindset, like, nah, that mean it gotta sound like this. And then it's time when I got minds placed that it was songs that I can enjoy myself without it feeling like a product. Because like I still go back and listen to songs that got placed, like, yeah, I still like this song. I don't feel the commercial, the commercial of it all. You know what I mean? So I agree with you on that. It's definitely getting there for sure.
I love that a lot, because I can say that I personally have always, since I've been doing this, I prefer the songs that sound like a real song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
like, I don't want too much. I don't want it to be too dramatic. Like,
yeah, it some had that just cheesiness to it. And he like, yeah. And I'll be in my mind like, you ain't gonna listen to that. Like outside of that place, are you gonna listen to that on your own and enjoy it? You know what I mean? I always got to go back. It's almost, I call it watching a game tape. Like a lot of placements I go back and I listen. I'm like, all right, I'm on the right track with that. This next one, let me have a more authentic approach to it, because those are the songs with historically, those are the songs of mine that have place. They have more of a authentic feel to them. While we're on songs, what I want you to do, as a matter of fact, we can close it with this.
Okay.
Name me one song. This is a great conversation too. It went where I anticipated going, because like I said, I've been following a lot like what you have been doing for a minute. So I'm like, she on that wave, man. I gotta talk to her. Name me one song. It could be new or old that positively impacts your mood every time you hear it. We talking about a song that just make you feel great about life. Just that one song.
Now listen. That is funny. And I think it's called "We Are the Champions." That Dame Dash Rockefeller.
Oh man. First time we heard Dame like thinking he was about to rap, but he didn't.
That's my go-to song when I feel like I want to get up and fight the devil.
Man, might have been my first time, I want to say, hearing Kanye, not knowing who he was.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely was my first
like,
time.
Who was that? Like my producer rap. I'm like, who? The verse was, I love the verse. It's crazy.
Yes, sometimes I start fights with the devil. I don't give him a chance. And in those days, that's the song. I get up and I play it real loud, and I be stumping like, boy, I wish you would. Like,
yeah,
you better listen.
Camera on there with the Celtics playing the Bird, Kevin McHale. Yeah, Camera was rapping real slow. Yeah. Oh wow.
When I hear it every time, like
then Twister. I always felt Twister. I felt like Twister didn't fit on that song. I was like, I don't know if we needed the fast verse on this one, man.
It was different. I love it.
Yeah, I forgot about that song. That's crazy. I thought you were about to actually say the original, like Queen version, but no, that man, like, yeah, that was on the Paid in Full soundtrack. Yeah, or I think it was like a mixtape associated with it. That's funny how music like push you in his place. Like I literally thought 2003 throwback jerseys and everything when you said that song, like being in high school, man, like art, graphic design. Wow, yeah, damn. I gotta go back to that was on that mixtape.
Yeah.
The Paid in
Full.
It was something like you had the Paid in Full soundtrack, and then you had the something All Stars. Because matter of fact, damn, now I gotta go down a rabbit hole. Matter of fact, yeah, he had that's the joint that had One for PD Crack on there.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, I could have swore I was gonna get signed to Rockefeller. I'm telling you,
so it's
that was a dream.
The dream team.
Yeah.
hosted presents the Dream Team, and it's called
Yep.
Painted Music Inspired
Okay.
Motion Picture. Yeah,
That's what it was. And it had like the red one, the cover like red, looked like Real American or something like that. Yep.
exactly.
Man, because it was the champion, it was We Are the Champions, and also one for PD Crack. Yep. Man. PD Crack was supposed to be that. He explained what happened career-wise, but I had him like as that one.
He's still
for sure
crazy.
Still cold. Yeah, I've heard stuff. Him and Young Chris. Like Young Chris was on My Expert Opinion. I'm like, man, Chris always been the one. He still got it. Like he's still active with it. Yep.
I love that.
Man.
Still.
Yeah, PD Crack, man. That flip side verse, like, whoo, man.
God. Them my boys. Yeah.
What a time, man, for sure. What a time. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna just tell you a secret. They made Rock the Mic on my Hello Kitty radio.
Are you serious?
They literally put the instrumental in on my radio and like was playing it over and over again, and everybody walking around freeway walking around. I'm like, okay, what's happening here? And then
wow,
it was a song. I'm like, oh, that's how that go.
Man, that was an era that I can think of that era every time and get inspired to create. Like literally. Yeah, every single time. Every time. It never fails. Yeah. Man, dope conversation, man. I said I always like ending it with that, like the mood impacting song, because it made people think like, oh, you know what? I didn't know where he was gonna go. He was like, We Are the Champion. I'm like, what? Oh shit. Like maybe I gotta go back. Yeah, because I ain't heard that in a long time. And I gotta look up the artist you mentioned. You said
Asaka the
Renegade. Okay. Yeah, I can find that.
They're all linked in my bio, and I'm telling you, you'll be disappointed. I have some really, really good ones.
I'm listening. I know your track. I was like, that she, oh man, okay. And Aria's like she's on her way there. Like you see it. I'm like, oh man, this is amazing just seeing it. Because you introduced her the first time. I seen it through your Instagram, and that made me go follow her page. I'm like, yo, she dope. Like, because listen, my thing, I tell this to my friends all the time. I said, man, I call it whisper R&B music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you got some that's cool, it's a vibe, it's like, all right, it's cool, but then it's like I feel empty when I listen to it. So like when every once in a while a singer come across my timeline, like somebody that sing, I'm like, man, thank you. Like they out there, man. Thank you so much. Yeah. We got a few of them in the city, so it's just like seeing more. I'm like, thank you, man. I'm grateful for it, because I don't really do the whisper R&B era. I'm tired of it. I'm over it, man. Like, damn, whisper on these songs. Yeah, man. That's selfishly. I'm like, you got to sing, please.
Yes.
Let them know where they can find you. I know you said the link in your bio, but I throw it in the link of the episode too. Where can they find you at on the socials?
It's Carita Miller, my full name. Or I think you can even look up the lady with the golden ear and it should come up.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Appreciate it. Good conversation. Y'all know where y'all can find me. Nametag Alexander across the board, be it social media. I just had a spike in my Spotify numbers. I saw that wherever I distributed through, they added it to a couple playlists. One of my songs off for Namesake too, I believe. So that shot up the numbers on there, which is pretty dope. So thank y'all for that. Apple Music, Bandcamp, even. Just search Nametag Alexander, and I got the link to my website in the description of the episode. You can't go wrong with it. And until episode 64, stay on for a second if you can, Carita. But until episode 64, this is episode 63. Y'all know what I mean. Until I see y'all for episode 64, it's been a Nametag is necessary. Peace.
You know the name. It's Nametag. Ain't a damn thing changed. Here's a ticket for your admission.